Rochelle.
My name is Asad Watson Buffalo.
I'm Ellis.
I'm Eden Thielson.
And our topic was on tribal education, and our question is, what causes violence in tribal schools?
So the definitions that we discovered were, the definition of what is asking for information specifying something. And the definition of causes is make something, especially something bad happen. And then violence is behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. And then tribal schools are schools that are operated by an Indian tribe or tribal organization on tribal land.
My article was on faculty impact, on how faculty impact can cause violence. According to Bob Alguazine and Jennifer McGee, educators and education researchers and practitioners would agree that school violence arises from a layering of causes and risk factors that include access to weapons, media violence, cyber abuse, the impact of school, community, and family environments, personal alienation, and more. Adolescents have the highest rate of crime and victimization, and males are responsible for crime and violence more than females in school. Research shows that schools with lower academic performance had higher crime rates, while schools employing larger numbers of certified teachers had lower crime rates. Unprofessionalism may cause students to act out with violence because they may not feel respected or feel like they have control over said teacher. Although teachers may play a role in how students turn to violence, teachers experience violence from students at a high rate.
Okay, on my topic, it was school shootings, like what kind of causes those. And one factor that causes school shootings is that the absence of armed guards at schools. And my dad, he was a Kansas City police officer, and in his younger days, he used to go to schools and I think it was a junior high. He used to tell me about it, and then I think he's arrested a couple of junior high kids, but when a fight was about to break out, he'd de-escalate that real quick, or he would just make sure everything was going smoothly. So I think that would probably help with school shootings a little bit. And then bullying is another factor too. But the article I read is that it says that most school shootings are premeditated. And then in the article it said there was this researcher, his name was David Paradise, and he observed school shootings over a span of 175 years and found that there have been 558 injuries and 420 deaths caused by school shootings, which is very sad to say the least. And then another researcher, or another person said that his name is Glenn Musher, said many perpetrators equate their target school with communities where they are located, and the rationale of attacking the school can be understood as an attempt to attack the community. Also, so really, if a student or if a kid is just mad at their community, then they might take their anger out on their peers and shoot up their school. That's another factor. And then the media, they play a big factor in school shootings too. By with each school shooting, we hear about every single one of them. And we heard about the one in Texas a couple months ago. They all get recognition, or not recognition, but they all get their name out there. So that just for more people, for more students, that it just motivates them to go and do that just so they can get their name out there. And then another reason, so one quote I found was Skinner. I think he was a psychologist. He had this quote that said, "Rewarded behavior generates similar behavior, and that's kind of where the media plays in. Like, the more the media puts out these school shootings, then the more school shootings might happen. And then also, I also found that my article stated that a desperate pursuit of an unattainable proper masculinity can lead to some boys to violence and self-destruction. So maybe these young men are trying to prove something that only a shooting can, which isn't good. But like, I also found solutions to like how we can lessen these. And they said the article stated that work towards inclusiveness and self-analysis, and like, help teachers try to like discover signs and like behaviors and try to get them help, the students the help they need. And some behaviors that like might be observed are egocentric behavior, bullying, disrespectfulness, selfishness, poor interpersonal skills, dislikes authority, insensitive towards the feelings of others, highly defiant, sensitive and ready to fight, and has a hostile attitude. And that's kind of how you can help. Like, if teachers can discover that, they get students the proper help they need. But teachers and students should not have to attend school in fear every day. But the frequencies of these shootings seem to be increasing at an alarming rate.
Good. My topic was about bullying, and my question was, how has bullying contributed to school violence in tribal schools? And I found an article, the approaches on student discipline methods in tribal schools and approaching bullying can contribute to the high rates of school violence, whereas little is known about bullying reports in American Indians. According to the article, perceptions and psychosocial correlations of bullying among Lumbee Indian youth, it states although bullying has been linked to suicide among youth, little is known about bullying in American Indians. Qualitative data, in-depth interviews and interventions are needed to address this behavior that contributes to poor psychosocial behavioral health in Lumbee youth. Another article, the Safe Futures Substance Abuse and Violence Prevention Program at Chief Leshy Elementary School, talks about a 3-year intervention program focused on preventing substance abuse, violence, gang violence, and truancy among K-12 students at Chief Leshy School in Tacoma, Washington, a tribally controlled urban school for high-risk and educated Native elementary youth. So basically what I'm saying is there. Maybe bullying happens from like the distress in the classroom.
Thank you.
So 13% of all Native Americans, or actually my article was about, or my summary is about drugs and alcohol abuse. And my article is the American Indian youth perceptions of their environment and their reports of depressive symptoms and alcohol and marijuana use. So 13% of all Native Americans live on reservations, and then 50% of all Native Americans live in poverty. Among poverty, American Indian adolescents are more exposed to violence, alcohol, drugs, and prejudice, which is the drugs and the alcohol are more likely to be in the communities, the districts, when people grow up around their family, like their mom and dad, because a lot of American or Native American adults do alcohol and drugs. According to the U.S. Department of Health, American Indian students are likely to report symptoms of depression and use alcohol and drugs as a solution. Research shows that Native youth abuse alcohol and drugs at least 11 months before urban youth, which is like around 13 years old.
That's all I really got.
All right. So what was one good thing from your article, Rochelle? This is the criteria stage.
Like how faculty can impact children's behavior. So if a teacher is negative and has negative attitude, a student may take that and turn that into violence and act out to maybe get redemption or to show like they want to be respected and
Okay, that's fine. And many times when they do act out, they are going after fellow students.
yes.
It's rare when it's after a faculty, but it does occur. It does occur. But most of the time, it's against either systematic bullying, or a particular clique of students.
Yeah.
It's you know, and when you're 16 with an AR and you go after kindergartners, so yeah, good. Question and answers from. Oh, let's go to solutions. You mentioned solutions, just from your article, from your summaries. And so we know from our data, if we are seeking solutions to problems in any field of study, the databases will help you, not just in my class, but throughout. If you Google something, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can write on Google. You can use Google Scholar, but those are difficult readings. Someone asked this morning, can we ever use Google Scholar? For sure, but I'm letting you know, some of those readings are very difficult. They're more difficult than what you can find in the library's electronic resources. Q&A from the audience. Any questions? Any comments?
I have a question. So Saad, the article that you were talking about, you were talking about just general ways of like violence in schools, but do you think those, the solutions that you had mentioned, do you think that they would be as effective for a tribal school for Native American kids who are going to schools on the reservation?
I mean, maybe not like an armed police officer in the school. I don't think that would probably be as effective because I don't know how like all the reservations are, but like I have friends from the reservations and they say that like the police on reservations isn't that great and everything. So maybe not like an armed like police officer, but I do feel like if like we were to train the teachers and like show them the signs of like what how a student's getting or like show them like their behaviors, then I do feel like yeah, that'll probably help with the violence in schools a little bit.
Good. Thank you. All right.